Democrats. So Bush wins in New Hampshire, Dole is second, third place open for grabs. With the Democrats, Dukakis wins, Simon and Gephardt very close for second place. Now we'll have updated results as this special primary night edition of 48 Hours goes on for the next better part of an hour. For 48 hours last week, our CBS News teams crisscrossed New Hampshire's wintry hills along with the candidates. We began last Monday night as the results from the Iowa caucuses were rolling in. And for the next 48 hours, we looked for the campaign stories you don't usually see. We'll show you what we found on the inside in a moment.
Good morning. Well, it's a great day if you're into traffic.
Introducing the all-new Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Once you've driven it, everything else is just traffic.
If breakfast were as it was meant to be, it would be a centuries-old balance of fruits, grains, and nuts. The breakfast Europeans call muesli. Now muesli comes to America as Kellogg's Mueslix. Oats, wheat, rice, corn, barley, raisins, dates, and hazelnuts. Kellogg's Mueslix. 5 grain or bran. What breakfast was meant to be.
Babbit headquarters, Des Moines, the night of the Iowa caucuses.
This process has got a lot of heartache in it. It's tough. It's long. It can be really, really hard.
There's still a three-way race at the top. Gephardt with 18,000 votes.
Well, where are Simon and Dukakis in
24%. Mike Dukakis at 13,000. Bruce Babbit at 5,700. Uncommitted with 30,000.
2 deep breaths. Yeah. 2 deep breaths. Yeah. So, you know what? It'll get better.
Bruce Babbit, the Arizona governor, finishes behind Jackson.
Fred, I suppose we should
Make some calls.
make some calls to close it down at some point. I think at some point we should talk about what kind of statement I should be making and when. Where are Fred and Sergio and all of that crowd?
Okay, what do the gurus have to say this time?
I don't see any percentage in cashing out ahead of New Hampshire. Does I hear you all out on it. I'm not kidding. It's going to be kind of it's going to be kind of lonely out there.
Preliminary numbers we have.
Babbit headquarters in Concord, New Hampshire, that same night.
I mean, those guys are on edge now. I mean, everybody's on edge now. And to get bad news is...
Look, you've been great. I don't know what to say, except you've really done an incredible job, all of you.
I guess we should, you and I have to do our best right now, is not to show the disappointment that we feel.
I really appreciate your advice about going on, because I think it's correct. You kind of like...
We did a great job, too. We were the best.
Nobody will ever know it.
The governor and okay, she'll be on his right when we go down there. And then if we
Okay, here we go. All right. Listen, I want to dispel any lingering suspicions by simply saying this. We're going on to New Hampshire, and we're going to make it happen.
More coffee?
coffee's there waiting. Anybody wants it? So you're getting up here at 9, huh?
I am car.
Fish must be going up later with us. I suspected, you know, that much when we saw
Politics works is true, and people are so important, and they have so many issues out there, and I don't think they utilize their politicians. They really don't.
Now, we want to find out from you, Mr. Barker, what happened last night with your man.
Well, let me tell you what happened. Reverend Robertson, I don't know, anybody in the country didn't know that he was going to do pretty well.
Go tell Bush.
We knew that...
Don't come clean with the Ira-Contra thing and tell everybody what he told the president.
Is that the only subject you have to propound right now?
He's got a noose around his neck.
I don't believe that.
Here comes the lone
Time for me to leave now, I'll tell you.
Democrat is here. Where's your entourage?
I'll sit next to your charming wife.
Will Dukakis do as well as New Hampshire as you think they're going to
He'll do 40 to 50%, is my feeling. I don't expect them to come in here and have the Republican town chairman, the county chairman, the Republican town chairman telling me how wonderful my man is.
John, you gotta have guts, and you gotta stand tall and say, he's my man, and you can't be afraid to get Republicans.
Why do you think I come in here?
Well, you've gotta be more
stupid
thoughtful.
or I have a lot of guts.
I like a Bush Kemp ticket. You make a hell of a vice president, Jack Kemp.
Okay.
I like it.
Sharp man.
I like it. I'd support it.
And they could even make Pat Robertson, they could put him in the Senate to lead off the Senate with a prayer.
It's unbelievable. Where other than the state of New Hampshire do you get all these big politicians right in your living room, in your kitchen?
I say in Iowa, they vote. New Hampshire, we elect president.
Are you trying to move that over?
We got this table that isn't done. Helen!
Pretty more than one. This place up on top.
Why? They're not cheap, huh?
Tom Sabati, chairman of the Nashua, New Hampshire Republican Committee, has a problem. And it's not just a little problem. In 6 hours, the Nashua Committee will sponsor a candidate forum, and all of the Republican candidates, except George Bush, had agreed to appear. But a day after Bush's third-place finish in Iowa, things have changed.
We got a decision to make.
What's that?
Last night I got a telephone call. 10:30. The Bush people want the vice president to come here tonight. Now, we worked pretty hard on this thing. I told the Bush people that we'd get together and have a special meeting, an emergency meeting, to decide whether, A, we want the vice president to come, B, whether we don't, and C, any other alternative. That's where we stand. So the most important thing is, do we want the vice president to speak at our annual event?
Yeah.
I think
All in favor?
Oh, yeah, I'm in favor of that.
Yeah.
Any nays? So be it. The vice president will speak.
Good.
If some of the vice president's people, the staff, want to come here tonight, they'll come here tonight only under one condition. They're going to pay for their tickets. This is not a free giveaway. They're going to pay. They're going to pay for tickets no different than anyone else.
Everybody is paid,
Okay.
Everybody's paid.
They've now, after rejecting us for nigh on 2 months, now they're coming. The vice president's coming, and they want some of their own people here. That's understandable. Sorry, if we get room, they can come. If they can't, that's just the way it has to be.
You want me to hold the ladder for you?
Yes, please. Going down to this one.
But what we wanted to do was offer something to the people of Nashua, and that is come and meet their candidate.
Now you can name all the Democrats and Republicans, right?
I can.
Marilyn Forrest, like many New Hampshire voters, expects to see and hear the candidates before she makes up her mind. She hasn't yet, and she's counting on tonight's candidate forum to help her decide. Not so her husband, Jim. He supports George Bush.
So we'll see, I think, tonight, a vice president who's fighting, who's in control, who has an agenda, and who hopefully will get his message across, and just maybe convince Maryland to vote for him.
He has to address the Iran-Contra thing. I mean,
Does he have a problem with that issue, do you think?
as the nominee and as the future president, that he does owe us some sort of explanation about what went on. Not that we have to know the nitty-gritty. I mean, it is privileged information between the president and the vice president. But I think we have to get an idea of just where he was standing in all this. I'm excited. I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited about seeing them all together. And I hope that in the next few days I can make up my mind.
But if tonight's event is important for Marilyn Forrest, it's critical for Tom Sabati, who is up to his eyebrows in details, trying to make certain everything works, including the welcoming speech to be made by an actor, Abe Lincoln.
Upbeat, happy, alive Abraham Lincoln. We won't put the microphone on. Why don't you get up there? And now let's give it a bloody go, Alistair. You're looking out to the people because you own them. You own those people.
But before it's all over, this will prove to be one of the worst nights of Tom Sabati's life.
You speak now.
Cry Freedom is extraordinary, says Newsweek magazine. An exciting film, powerful and engrossing. 4 stars, declares Rex Reed. A first-class suspense thriller. Gene Shalit says Cry Freedom is an exciting adventure of escape, a movie of passion. And Jeffrey Lyons of Sneak Previews calls it one of the year's most inspiring, wonderful films. Don't miss it. Cry Freedom, rated PG. Starts Friday at select theaters.
I was in Phoenix. I had to give a speech. While I was working on my speech in the hotel room, I started coughing. So I called down, and the front desk sent up some cough syrup.
Not all cough medicines work the same.
This stuff was for kids. It wasn't for me. Then I sat down for something stronger, and they sent up Vicks 44.
Today's Formula 44 contains maximum strength dextromethorphan, as effective as codeine, but non-narcotic.
That Vicks Formula 44 kicked that cough.
Formula 44, maximum strength for maximum relief. From Vicks.
I don't want to cough again, but if I do, I'm taking it.
Another grandma for stovetop.
I used to make my husband potatoes every night. And then one day he said he'd be missing supper because he had to work late. I thought, that's strange for a milkman. So next night, I made stovetop stuffing. And when he tasted those breadcrumbs and spices, he said, Marty, let's have dessert in the gazebo tonight. Well, that was lots of kids and grandkids ago. Do I still make stovetop? You bet your gazebo I do.
Stovetop instead.
Wednesday on CBS.
I would give anything to meet Robin Masters.
He is you.
Somebody just tried to kill me.
Magnum's at a standstill.
Looks like you need some help, big guy.
Then,
My father's in trouble.
I saw your mother last night. And all is still alive.
Is she?
But I saw her!
What, is there some kind of vengeance? The Equalizer.
Cheryl Ladd, Wayne Rogers, and Mickey Rooney are a passionate breed that play to win at any cost. Sunday, February 28th, Bluegrass.
AIDS is a killer that does not discriminate. All Americans need to know the basic facts. Write AIDS, Box 14252, Washington, D.C. 20044.
For all of us, it's been a long time, somewhere between 7 months and 5 months, waiting for people to vote, and they're finally starting to vote. By the time we finish this meeting, someone will have won Iowa. We'll have surprised a lot of people, and whatever we have to beat will be set. So finally tonight, when you leave, you'll know exactly what you need to do. 6%, 8%, 10%, and know exactly how long you have to do it. 7 days.
The Democratic race is as close as forecasters had predicted. So far, the news is good for Richard Gephardt, but his lead is fading a little. With 31% of the Iowa Democratic vote counted, he has a 2-point lead now over Senator Paul Simon of Illinois.
The news about Jesse Jackson from Iowa this night is better than expected.
And the rest of the field looks like this. Jesse Jackson.
Hey!
Bruce Babbit of Arizona at 9. And
Check it out. It'll make me a little bit more nervous. That's for certain.
I mean, the stakes go up, don't they?
They do indeed. Few hours of sleep. The stakes, they've been high for a long time.
The local staff is ready for a big push, but unlike most other candidates, Jackson won't concentrate exclusively on New Hampshire for the coming week. He has a broader agenda.
Just wait one sec.
On this crucial night after Iowa, Jackson arrives to spend 13 hours in the Granite State, 8 of them sleeping.
We are building toward a conclusion. The winner will have to run to the decathlon event. A 50-game season. It opened in Iowa last night. You would have thought That was the Super Bowl. That was just the opening game. The second game, New Hampshire, 48 more games to go.
This is a very different campaign than Jackson ran in 1984. This time, he is attracting educated white voters as well. In Iowa, Jackson got 10% of the white vote.
And perhaps what we're asking you to do, Reverend Jackson, is your involvement to whatever degree you could.
And sweeter still for him, Jesse Jackson now speaks more and more for the economically distressed of all colors, be they farmers in Iowa or these striking railroaders.
Oh, Mr. Plant, this is something brand new in history you're looking at, buddy.
You seem a whole lot more subdued this time around. Are you trying to be a more serious candidate? What's going on?
No, I'm confident. But that's what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know how to win the hearts of the people, how to bring people together, and I'm doing just that. Good to see you, man.
Wednesday morning, as Jackson is leaving New Hampshire. He'll be back before the primary, but he has wider horizons, attempting to build his delegate count across the nation.
Today we have three basic areas of focus in Alabama. In northern Alabama, farmers, white and black farmers are coming together who are fighting for fair prices and the return of their land.
One pollster estimates Jackson could come rolling into the Atlanta convention with as many as 1,200 delegates and real trading power. So, for a day or two, the New Hampshire staff will have to make do without their leader.
See you soon. I think half of surviving the next week and being effective is going to be staying in a good mood, staying positive, expecting almost nothing and getting a lot more.
Let's do the banner first.
Do we have duct tape? Mark?
Yeah.
Do you have the duct tape? It's tight. We want everyone to grab some of these signs, not like the blue ones, but the homemade ones. There's a great one, Kemp 88. I'm going to grab something to eat and drink here real quick.
Volunteers do everything, early or late, menial or not, and they like it. College senior Rob Glazier came all the way from Brigham Young University in Utah to work for Jack Kemp.
And they'll be coming up this way with a motorcade real quick. They still got 2 minutes to arrive.
They just announced that, I believe.
Hold on, let's ask Bernie. Bernie, what time is Jack coming?
High drama. A Kemp press conference is delayed.
I guess we better take that sign down.
Oh, I didn't even realize DuPont was there.
Who the hell was over there?
DuPont. Came to steal our press. Well, that's the way DuPont plays ball, but it sounds like he's starting to stoop to the levels of Al Haig, though. We just sent some kids over to hold signs up behind DuPont.
All right.
DuPont came when we were over there. Unbelievable. Perfect. So he tried to steal the press.
Flies in as I get there, right?
Good. Those Jack Kemp ice scrapers are going to come in handy then. Yeah, we're going to be working 24 hours around the clock practically.
Let's start the run through from the very beginning.
I'm getting on the bus. I'm meeting him at the airport to greet him there at the airport.
What's it feel like being TV star?
Which is great.
Then go to Goffstown.
I'm going to Goffstown on the bus.
Is everybody on? Big B, is everybody on it?
And then jumping off and leapfrogging ahead to do some advance at either the Milford Oval or the Dodge store. Well, I can get there in my car. That's what I'll plan on doing.
They're talking about advance work, making sure Kemp gets places on time, knows who he's going to meet. Rob sets out in the same battered car he drove here from Utah.
I'm working for Congressman Jack Kemp. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
Of course. He's going to be coming over to Dodge store here at 3:15. Would like to invite you to come over and say hello to him and his wife and family and meet him and ask him any questions you might have. We got a couple more left. Anyone else need a picture?
I was a sixth grader once. Hey. How you guys doing? Hey, you guys. Why are you in school?
Is Jack Kemp actually here in Goffstown?
Yes. Would you like to meet him?
I'd love to meet him.
Sure. My name's Rob Glazier.
I'm Bill Exner.
A mistake is getting the candidate stuck arguing with a Paul Simon Democrat over Contra aid.
Yep, and very much against Contra aid. One of the things we did this fall was had a person from the Church of Christ in Nicaragua live with us for a while with the parish, and he preached. He's very conservative.
I'm 20 minutes late on my schedule. And we got that press conference coming up at Hopkinton, too.
Okay.
long as I can get back on schedule, you're a good man. And if not, we'll discuss it later, huh? We're about 20 minutes behind schedule. There are no problems. Everything's going fine, but we're just running a little bit late. I'm volunteering for Jack Kemp. He's congressman running for president. I'm sure you've heard of him. We would like to leave that with you.
Sometimes it's fun when the candidate remembers who you are.
And in the case of Rob, I mean, he drove his beat-up car all the way from Utah, so he's meant a lot to our campaign.
We were amazed it got here from Manchester.
he drove us.
Sometimes it's no fun when the volunteers get to the rented house where they're sleeping and find nobody has the key.
There were 2 keys for it that we had. One is on the press van key ring, and then the second one is with Greg Rothman, who is lost. Finally got around to some other place and then got through a side door here that opened inside. Not your typical night, but not too far from it either.
Volunteers work long and sleep little. They earn no money. They do it because they want to make the country better.
And now on to the surprise second place winner.
Who would give up? People ask that to Jack Kemp, and he says, I'm a quarterback. I'm not a quarterback, but I'm not going to give up in this primary until the polls close, and then even then, we'll still be responsible for putting on the victory party, so I imagine we don't give up at all. Good job, Rob. Oh, of course.
After 2 years of campaigning, Bruce Babbit ends up in the back of the pack. The media coverage turns into a death watch.
Well, we have folded our tents in Iowa, and we'll strike them again in New Hampshire and see what happens.
His decision to plow ahead for 1 more week through the New Hampshire primary was made partly to help his staff deal with the awful truth.
It's a sudden death kind of deal. Who knows? Is that how you feel like you're in sudden death playoff right now? Well, we're at least in overtime.
Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the friendly skies of United Airlines aboard flight number 506, now en route to Manchester.
How come you changed your mind? You were going to go home to Phoenix.
Well, you know, the question was who needed mothering more, and I think I finally decided that the Babbit in New Hampshire maybe needed it more than the 2 in Phoenix.
The 2 in Phoenix are 10 and 12?
Yeah.
This one's 49?
You want me to think of some lines and then sketch that out?
Yeah, we need to work out a little opening monologue.
They told me last night I was 5th, and I said, well, I'll need a 5th of something.
Gotta do better than that, Mark.
He's lovable. Candidates I've worked for in the past have all been, very good, decent people, but they haven't felt as deeply or, it really got you in the gut the way Bruce Babbit does. It's what makes this whole thing so wrenching. You really want to make it happen for him, and so you throw everything you've got into it.
Governor, could you spare just a word for the BBC? I'd be delighted. Really, is there life after Iowa? Well, we're crawling back from the edge of extinction, and I'll be able to answer the question in 1 week.
How difficult?
What are you going to do? I mean, do you go into debt?
Somebody on my behalf is in Phoenix, Arizona right now, signing my name to a loan. Sure. Nobody ever told me I was going to be a front runner, and so far I have fulfilled our expectations. I'm not the front runner. Hey, my wife is working the room. Great, unbelievable, terrific.
Your staff is very busy, it seems to us, building your morale.
I'm aware of it. They know I'm aware of it. And I'm just as proud as can be of them because they're out there. In some ways, they're taking it harder than I am because they've, labored for so long that they're covering up their own sadness with this kind of artificial conviviality. I picked myself up off the floor last night, kind of said, Hattie, dust me off a little bit. And said, come on, there's no time for recrimination or for nostalgia, because you see, it's that cause that counts. And I said, we'll come roaring into New Hampshire, and we'll do it.
reason why the people are standing around. Ballroom's not open.
Yeah, but they can stand in the hallway.
There's not enough room in that hallway for more than 20 people.
Republican Candidates Night in Nashua begins in just 1 hour, and Chairman Tom Sabati is having a slight problem with the seating.
Let's get this path through, huh?
This is the guy. You told him he had a table with Rudman. Rudman doesn't even have a table. This is Dr. Mohegan.
Tickets. Some guys coming in from Washington. They have tickets for a table has to be up front.
Okay, here's the screw up. Here's
no screw ups. I have no choice.
I don't think you need pins.
We need pins to get in here. They won't let us in without pins. Our entourage, nor Mrs. Earl, Mr. Hagan.
Oh, my aching back. For Christ's sake.
Is there any more room you can put another
No. He has a table. But the table's not up front. That's the problem.
No, I'm here by myself with Bernie.
Sit
I
at
don't
my
know where
table.
Bernie is. Okay, where's your table?
My table was supposed to be there. Oh, my God. What the?
Please walk over.
That was my table. Okay, Elsie Vartanian's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, okay.
Right after Elsie Vartanian, someone else is going to speak. I don't know whether that's going to be me or Abraham Lincoln.
Excuse me. Would you turn that off, please?
I didn't even know that.
Casper Weinberger is supposed to sit at our table.
Oh, my God.
I'm a state rep here. I was told to come down here and get my 2 tickets. I came here. This lady accused me of taking a pen that I don't have. You can search me.
You did take it. Now, don't...
I put it right back on the table when you said I had a pen, and I sat it there. Well, you didn't see me because you weren't looking.
Thank God, New Hampshire.
I got it. But that also would be a glad me.
I've been writing a lot of stories about aspirin lately, but if you think you've heard all the news about aspirin, think again. Clinical tests now show there's an even better aspirin formula. It's Anacin. Listen, the tests show that compared to regular strength aspirin, Anacin provides a more effective level of pain relief, better relief. The latest good news about aspirin is Anacin.
Anacin, a better aspirin formula.
Chicken Littles, come and go with me, 39 cents, only at KFC. Chicken Littles, come and go with me. Wow, 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 wow. Great new French fries, you're gonna love them so thin and crispy. At lunch or on the go, Chicken Littles, come on to KFC. Come and go with me.
48 hours will continue.
Newhart at 9.
8 Central and Mountain.
Frank's Place at 9:30.
8:30 Central and Mountain.
Wise Guy at 10.
9 Central and Mountain.
Monday's a must.
On CBS.
When you're undercover, one of the most dangerous things you can do is pick up the phone. Wise Guy, so intense you can feel it.
This is CBS.
Think Chicken Deluxe, juicy tomatoes, golden cheese, crisp lettuce. Think delicious white meat chicken. Think Chicken Deluxe from Burger King. Now stop thinking and go get it. Only at Burger King. And now,
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Darkseid. The Superpowers cup holders, each at a special price when you buy a soft drink. You can collect all 4, but not for long, because the Superpowers team is headed for other galaxies.
Learn how to survive a fire tonight on Channel 2 News.
Updated results and a new headline. Gephardt finishes second among the Democrats. Results are still coming in from tonight's first-in-the-nation presidential primary here in New Hampshire. Vice President George Bush has won the Republican primary contest over Senator Bob Dole. Dole finishes second, according to our CBS News estimate. The returns still show a very close race for the important third spot among the Republicans, Pete DuPont, Jack Kemp, and Pat Robertson. Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis won the Democratic primary overwhelmingly. There was a fierce race for second. It was undecided, according to our CBS News estimates, until just a short while ago when Representative Richard Gephardt, our CBS News estimates indicate, wins it second place among the Democrats over Senator Paul Simon of Illinois. Jesse Jackson is fourth. Among the Democrats, the climax of the campaign here was that head-to-head battle for second between Gephardt and Simon, now won by Gephardt, a battle that was already going strong during our 48 hours inside the campaign.
The campaign aides yesterday afternoon were touting an additional event. They were telling us that we're going to add something and you might want to be there.
When does your piece run? On the Simon campaign bus, Chicago Tribune reporter Mitchell Lowson is groggy from just 4 hours of sleep since the Iowa caucuses.
Well, Mitch, the fact is you expect him to bash Dukakis and Gephardt in reverse order, maybe. Paul Simon is not the kind of guy known to bash anyone. You could be disappointed, correct? It might not work.
His aides talk about having to talk Simon into doing some of these things, yet Simon has risen to the occasion or dropped to the occasion, depending on your point of view before.
Simon press aide Terry Michael makes sure no one overlooks a slam in the morning paper at Simon opponent Richard Gephardt.
With a quicksilver ability to remold himself as situations require. And that's the Wall Street Journal. Who can argue with that?
That's faint praise, isn't it? You know what the event is?
I just got it on my schedule here. They hand out these very handy little schedules, which chronicle by the minute. And it says Seabrook Press Conference. And my guess is that has to do with the nuclear power plant that's been very controversial.
The candidate will stand in the snows of Seabrook and denounce the opposition. That's not bad.
There clearly is a contrast here for the people of New Hampshire. Who stands with them consistently? Who is with them in an election year when it is convenient to be with them? My record is one of consistency, one of commitment, and those who are concerned about Seabrook, I hope will take that, keep that in mind.
Yeah, let's just lay down the next track. We can do it that way.
Veteran political reporter Joe Day covers the New Hampshire primary for WNEV-TV in Boston.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen it. See, here's what I was thinking. We have Gephardt there walking around, right? What I'm trying to do is to illustrate that by examining Seabrook today, really what we're doing is we're illustrating what the race is in New Hampshire. That is, I'm saying Paul Simon finished second in Iowa, and he's got to finish second here, or he's probably out of the race. So he's got to be aggressive against Gephardt, who won in Iowa.
The big circle around this is New Hampshire
Rebecca,
a referendum on
getting
Seabrook.
that Seabrook ad?
And it's not.
Seabrook ad?
Really. Because what I'd like to say afterwards, already.
No, it's in studio at 5.
Joe Day package.
Good evening, Diana. As we've listened to these candidates over the last several months here, sometimes it seems as if their positions are not really that different on this.
Well, they're not, R.D., not at all. But as is often the case, you can tell how the candidates are doing by what they're saying and why they're saying it.
One year you say states cannot veto nuclear dump sites. You become a candidate and you switch.
Gephardt's aides have been poised for days to meet such negative attacks should he win Iowa.
Is it your feeling that you need an event or a stunt or a venue or something to whet the appetite of the media?
Yes, you have to give that. You have to offer some kind of conflict, some kind of aggressive positioning, or people simply, or the camera's simply going to pay much attention to you.
You need the red meat.
Well, whether it's red meat or not, it's aggressive, and that's what we tried to be today, was aggressive.
And it worked.
I think it worked.
On a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of bashing or scoring points or drawing blood, how well did he do?
I'd say he did about a 7. He made his points. It took some of our questions to draw him out.
They're using us, but we're using them. I'm using them to tell the story of how I think the race is today. They're using us to get their message out. And I think we all do that every day.
Presidential primary only days away, there is no time to report the fact that this is a state whose public people have the social conscience of a subway rail.
Boston Globe columnist Mike Barnacle, going over his column about the New Hampshire primary. But this column will be different. Every 4 years, he goes places he says the candidates don't go. He reports on issues he says the candidates don't address.
Yeah, you don't want to go where the candidates go. They go nowhere. I mean, they don't even go to laundromats.
Barnacle joins up with patrolman Billy Burke, who gets a call to break up a family disturbance. The husband is arrested, accused of beating his wife.
Off to the corner in the kitchen of an apartment where there was only milk and beer in the refrigerator stood the woman's 8-year-old boy and her 76-year-old traveling companion. You go to school, the boy was asked. Sometimes, he answered. When? Well, I went a couple times in December, he said.
I want you out of my house.
Okay, all right.
Please, out.
Okay.
All set?
Away he goes. And that solves that problem up there for tonight.
All right.
And the primary goes on.
And there you go.
The primary, guys running for president. You ever think, hey, these guys are nuts. You know, they're so unreal. They're not living in the real world.
I think some of them know how it is. But others, it might be nice for them to come out and see how it is.
Then just yesterday, there was Karen Shaw, who was 31 and has twins who are now 2.5. She was talking about what it means to be poor and to live in New Hampshire, a state everyone watches every 4 years.
When was the last time you went out and had like a big steak dinner?
Can't remember.
The celebration of the twins. My dinner at the hospital was my steak dinner. They have a candlelight dinner for when you have your babies, and I celebrated that way. I can't afford steak dinners.
Issues of no money, no transportation, little medical care, and homelessness are invisible. They all talk in abstractions. Dukakis has a great commercial, I understand, on the homeless. Camera pulls back and shows a homeless fellow right outside the gates, the front entrance to the White House. Well, you can find the homeless right outside the governor's office in Boston, Massachusetts.
And everybody's up here for the primary.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Were you a veteran?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was a World War II veteran.
Army?
I was on night carriers.
Do you miss having an apartment, a home?
Oh, yes, I do. That's why I want to try to take care of it this summer. I want to try to finally get in.
It's tough, you know. I hate to drive by and see Donald there every night, but there's not a darn thing I can do about it.
It's a badge of worn with great pride by a lot of people running for office, that when that woman came in and asked for benefits and when that baby was sick, we said no, you know. Hey, how'd I go?
The Spinners and working my way back to you with WLGW in Lancaster. And as an item of community interest, you're invited to participate in the second straw poll to be held today at the Lancaster Fruit Company and Delicatessen on Main Street right here in Lancaster. Now, voting...
Do I have to buy something to vote?
No, you don't.
Just write it?
Yeah, that's I'll give you a ballot right here.
Oh, okay.
It's a two-part thing, Democrat, Republican, or Independent. You just kind of fill in the block, and whoever you want to vote for. Now, there's a place for undecided if you don't know who you want yet, or a write-in.
And we're raffling off the monkey over there. If you'd like
Yeah, a
to
little
put
mechanical
your
monkey.
name and phone number.
To me, it was a mass confusion with all these candidates running, and I decided then that if I'm confused, then maybe my customers are confused. So I decided to open up my store for all campaigns and and ask them to provide information for me. And it really gave me a heck of a big education.
Are you Democrat, Republican, or Independent?
In the pot? No, in the box.
In the box.
That's right.
What worries me about Dole is his wife would probably run the country.
I say what the vice president and the president discuss are as private as what Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan discussed.
Do you know that we've got over 100 ballots so far, and it's only noontime? I know that one campaign worker had visited something in the order of 200 stores, and he says it's the only store, this is the only store where he's ever seen anything like this. Okay, you can just drop it in the box over there, okay?
Are you going to have somebody here reputable to count them, or are you going to do it?
Oh, my family is very reputable, I assure you, sir. Make sure you get them all.
George Bush.
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 Robertson.
Robertson.
Gephardt.
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 Wow.
Gephardt.
Wow.
Dukakis.
Reagan.
Is that a write-in?
That's what it says.
Is that a write-in?
Yeah.
It says Reagan.
It says Reagan.
They're already looking.
The results on the Republican side, Bush came out first, Dole came in second, and Dukakis was in first place with 18 votes, and in second place was Dick Gephardt with 14 votes.
America 22 before the hour, 1490 radio, WLGW in Lancaster.
A new life begins. What could be more fragile? That's why hundreds of hospitals use Baby Magic Lotion. Its special emollients soften skin and help protect against wetness, chafing, and irritation. All problems for someone just facing the world. And because a mother's skin also needs protection, Baby Magic's perfect for adults, too. Protect the way so many hospitals do with Baby Magic Baby Lotion.
By Menon.
Folks need a little help?
And how will you be paying for that?
American Express.
If you stop by our Minneapolis office tomorrow, you can pick up a new card.
I'm having some trouble checking into this hotel.
I can take care of it. Let me just talk to the hotel manager.
Thank you.
Okay.
A friendly voice in the middle of the night. Membership has its privileges.
When the burning, itching, and soreness of hemorrhoids flare up, Tux medicated pads give you soothing, cooling relief on contact. For hemorrhoid flare-up, get Tux from Park Davis.
All of these cough syrups treat a cough with exactly the same ingredient. Only Benylin has the powerful cough suppressant diphenhydramine, recommended by doctors for over 30 years. Benylin, our strength is your relief.
Get your spaghetti ready. Get ready for Ragu Thick and Hearty Spaghetti Sauce. Our thickest, heartiest sauce ever. Made with lots of plump, juicy tomatoes, special seasonings and spices for a zesty, full-bodied tomato taste. Now your spaghetti's ready. Ragu Thick and Hearty. Our thickest, heartiest sauce ever.
Morning on the 608th day of the Bruce Babbit campaign. The nights are running later now. The mornings start earlier.
Hey, yes, it's great to see you. Hey, thank you for being out here. Good morning, Jim. It's good to see you. Hey, thank you. Frank Kemp, Bruce Babbit. Hi, how are you? Terrific. How you doing? How you doing? Hi, John. Red, how you doing?
Do you think that you might run again in 4 years?
You can answer that one. I think the answer is it's not likely. It's not likely. It's too tough. It's too much time away. Sort of thing that, look, I don't want to be the Harold Stassen of the Democratic Party. This is an area where once is enough.
Valerie, Valerie,
Seven p.m. The Nashua GOP Forum is about to begin. Marilyn and Jim Forrest arrive.
Looks nice.
Organizer Tom Sabati's night is about to take another turn for the worse.
Where's the chairs? Where are the chairs?
Do you know, is it open seating?
Not that I know of. sit anywhere?
I think we have to go.
We're gonna stand.
Maybe right here will be fine.
This is a good place.
Thank you for your hospitality. It's a good event. You've done a very good job.
Well, hell, we're just trying to do the best we can.
Sweet home, God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you very much.
Well, how are you tonight? I tell you, I'm scared being up here.
I don't believe we ought to freeze in all the bad programs along with those that are good.
We pay $200 billion a year in interest. And it's time we start thinking of our children and our grandchildren and addressing that deficit.
Which will be $3 trillion by 1990 at the rate we're going, or worse.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to proceed to introduce the Vice President, since the Vice President isn't in the back of the room yet. And we'd been advised that the Vice President was to be the 6th speaker, and now we learned he's supposed to be the 4th speaker. And I understand we have 5 minutes.
You see, I was too much of a nice guy. I let everybody grab my goddamn arm tonight and ask me stupid questions, and nobody ever got, I can't believe this, but not Bob Dole, but not anybody, ever got the message to Bernie Streeter that the Vice President was speaking last. I can't believe this.
Vice President George Bush.
And I'm sorry that the Vice President had to rush down the stairs at the last minute and speak as the number 4 candidate. I'm sorry.
I want to see us put a little more money in for certain facets of education, a little bit more for fighting drugs.
And the parents in this society are worried about the fact their kids aren't being taught how to read and write, and that they're on drugs.
Thirdly, we need to teach character. We need to teach our precious young children that there's a difference between right and wrong.
That's it. Thank you very much for attending, and some of the candidates will be mingling.
You were the one who came in here undecided. Did you hear anything tonight that changed your mind?
I still think that it's going to be, my vote is either going to go for Bush, Kemp, or Robertson.
I don't feel badly. I just wish it would have been a little bit better organized. Next time we'll do it better.
This evening wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. Was it for you? I think the most exciting part was when we got stuck in the elevator, and no one's ever going to know about that.
My faith hasn't shaken. It's just that there are two worlds. There's the world that you see when you're in the audience, whether that be the Johnny Carson show or whether that be the Nashua Republican City Committee show. That's what you see. We all know that behind the scenes, it's different.
Are you sure you've made the right decision?
Yeah, Mom. Don't you think you're going too fast?
Is it supposed to go slow?
It's a beautiful home, Kate. But can you afford it?
Bob's got it under control.
Bob?
Coldwell Banker.
And the money?
Coldwell Banker got us the financing, too. Just trying to be helpful. And give me that rock.
Coldwell Banker. Expect the best.
Excuse me.
No problem. We know about kaopectate, too.
Kaopectate actually absorbs the germs that can cause diarrhea.
Kaopectate bags. The diarrhea specialist.
Sometimes your skin gets so dry, you can actually scratch the word dry right on your hand. Now that's dry skin. And the drier your skin, the more you need today's Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion. It starts healing dry skin on contact. Thermal photography shows how Vaseline Intensive Care soothes the dryness, the redness, actually accelerates the healing of dry skin. Even hours later, you can't write on skin treated by Vaseline Intensive Care. It starts healing dry skin on contact.
Sometimes even Pat Riley's stomach can lose its cool. That's when he reaches for Rolaids. Nothing works better for acid indigestion, so Pat's free to let his emotions really show.
Not bad.
Relief. You know how to spell it.
On Jake and the Fat Man, one witness is silenced, but another speaks out.
I could have identified you in the lineup, but I didn't.
Blackmail is not right.
Tonight at 9.
Campaign 88, New Hampshire, the crucial first primary.
Join Dan Rather for complete coverage and analysis of the New Hampshire primary tonight.
Back live now in our New Hampshire primary election headquarters. Things are popping like the popcorn in one of those microwaves, with votes still being tabulated from today's voting in the state. Here's what the latest results show. On the Democratic side, the big winner, Michael Dukakis. Second place, CBS News now estimates, goes to Richard Gephardt, who finished first for the Democrats in Iowa. Gephardt beats Paul Simon, the senator from Illinois, for second place in New Hampshire. It may be adios for Simon. Now, also among the Democrats, in fourth place, Jackson and Gore running neck and neck for fourth place. Earlier, it appeared that Jackson might have fourth place nailed down. Our CBS News estimate is that Gore and Jackson are now locked in a very close fight for fourth place. They're in alphabetical order here, so don't make anything of that. And Babbit and Hart bringing up the bottom there, battling it out for last place. But the important story of the hour among the Democrats is that Gephardt has beaten Simon for second place. Dukakis finishes first. Among the Republicans, Vice President George Bush not only has won over Bob Dole, but our CBS News estimate is that it may turn out to be a solid win for Bush and an impressive comeback for him, beating out Bob Dole, the senator from Kansas, who was first in Iowa. Our CBS News estimate now is good night for Jack Kemp, the former pro football quarterback, congressman from upstate New York, stays alive as a viable candidate by finishing third in this race, according to many of the pundits. We shall see. Pierre-Pete DuPont, the former governor of Delaware, finishes fourth. And here's a storyline of the night. Pat Robertson, the one-time religious broadcaster, finishes fifth. That's FIF 5 in New Hampshire for Robertson. General Al Haig dropped out of the race last week. So storyline on the Republican side. A win for George Bush in first place. Bob Dole second. Jack Kemp in third, with Pierre-Pete DuPont finishing fourth and Pat Robertson fifth in New Hampshire. It was a solid night for the Vice President, a great night to watch some television and bask in the glow of a New Hampshire victory after last week's third place finish behind Dole and Robertson in Iowa. The Vice President finishing first tonight. This primary could have been the 1-2 punch, could have been that Dole needed to put Bush out of the running, in the opinion of many. It didn't happen. George Bush did what he had to do here in New Hampshire. Earlier tonight, I asked Senator Bob Dole if that puts the shoe on the other foot now.
You know, this is only the third state. We didn't participate in Michigan. We won 2-1 in Iowa over Bush. We lost by a few points here. In my view, that makes Bob Dole a credible candidate.
Senator, it was your decision in the last days of the New Hampshire campaign to go what the polls call a positive advertising campaign. Vice President Bush decided to go negative in the last days. Do you think that made the difference for him?
It may have. You never know. But he did change the last 3 days. When on the attack, we decided not to. We thought we'd be positive, but we didn't want any image of sort of an old Bob Dole creeping up in the minds of New Hampshire voters. There isn't any old Bob Dole, but in any event, it may have made a difference. But we'll see what happens. We'll live to fight another day.
Perhaps one way to look at this is that Iowa and New Hampshire represent the first round, only the first round of a long 15-round fight. Bob Dole got a knockdown by winning in Iowa. George Bush got a knockdown by winning tonight in New Hampshire. There's still a long way to go in the fight if it goes the full 15, if you want to look at it that way. Dukakis wins in New Hampshire for the Democrats, and Dick Gephardt finishes in second place. That's going to be one of the headlines of tomorrow. One of the sub-headlines may also be that Jack Kemp has finished for the Republicans in third place in New Hampshire. Pat Robertson finishes fifth among the Republicans. Until next week, that's 48 hours. CBS News will continue to cover the primary results through this evening from our election headquarters here in New Hampshire. We'll have a special report at 11:30, 10:30 Central Time. We'll break in between if events warrant. So until 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, Dan Rather, and we'll see you next week on 48 Hours.
Later tonight, it's a tough test when Cagney and Lacey go back to school. But first, the only witness to an unsolved murder makes a dangerous demand. Share the suspense on Jake and the Fat Man next. For a transcript of 48 hours, send $3 to Journal Graphics, 267 Broad